lately, everything's trembling. All my shelters are opening. Feels like everything's crumbling. All the windows are shattering.
Hey, welcome back, Fish on Northwest. We are here in the Bait Lab. I want to remind everybody that Bait Lab installments are presented by Max Lure, and there's actually a number of items here on the table tonight as we get into kokanee and trout fishing this time of year that are available through Max Lure. Check out everything they have to offer at maxlure.com. Now with that, I want to talk a little bit about baits and scents. For those of you that have followed me for a number of years, you know that I am still currently and will probably for the end of days be with Pautzke's bait company because of all the fantastic options they offer, and now they've even upped their game the last couple of years in the realm of kokanee and trout and various scents and oils and things. They've teamed up with Atlas Mics a couple of years ago, and together collectively between Atlas Mics and Pautzke's and their fire gel and the options that we have, scenting your presentations has never been easier. Okay, so first I want to talk a little bit about corn. Pautzke's has been making shoe peg corn for kokanee and trout fishing for years. So folks will ask me, why would you purchase corn like Pautzke's in a small jar that is colored and cooked versus just simply buying for a buck whatever a can of Jolly Green Giant shoe peg corn? Well, I can tell you why. The corn produced by Pautzke's, yes, it has various colors that you can choose from, and keep in mind that that also has a UV property to it, so you're adding more UV to your presentation. The other side of that is that it's cooked, and because it's cooked, it doesn't go bad. You can literally open up a jar of this corn, and I'll show you how to add in some oil and add different scents to it, and you keep that in a refrigerator. I started this season out fishing corn that I had added oil to last season, the end of last season. It's been sitting in the refrigerator for about 8 months. Pull it out, go out to the lake, put it on as an attractant with my lure, catching fish. Why? Because it doesn't go bad. It's cooked. It doesn't mold. It doesn't deteriorate. The oil stays good because it's in the refrigerator. It doesn't break down. And it's preserved, and it just hangs in there. Now, if you color up, add some of your various dyes you can buy at local retail stores. Put some dye into your shoe peg corn, your Jolly Green Giant, whatever, and put that in the fridge. Over the course of a couple months, it's going to mold. It's going to go bad. So it does work, but I stand by and stick by with what I've been using for years. I like the color properties of the corn, the pinks, the reds, greens, yellows, natural. The white is fantastic. And I like the fact that it's been preserved or cooked so that it's not going to go bad. How do we add scent to it? Well, it's pretty easy. Mike's has a number of different scents, and you can get it in your glow scents in your oil form. It's a little less viscosity, a little thinner, or you can even get it in your lotions, which is the Lunker lotion, a little thicker. But if you stir it up real good, mix it up, it also works extremely well. I just take basically a jar of Pautzke's corn, and I'm just going to dump that into a container. Okay, and again, you can pick any color that you choose. This here just happens to be the pink. Pink works extremely well. The dark red works extremely well. I probably use the pink and the dark red and the natural more than any of the other colors, but high usage on the pink here. And believe it or not, it's just this simple. I have 2 bottles of Lunker lotion here. One is tuna, one is garlic. We know for certain that the combination of tuna and garlic make an extremely good combination when it comes to attracting kokanee. Now, this isn't rocket science. It doesn't have to be very specific, but I do like to put in about equal parts. So there's the tuna. I'm going to add a little bit of garlic on here and just simply squeeze that in. And it's about that simple. I'm going to stir that around with a fork. Now see, this here is a lot thicker than the glow oil that you'll put in, but this stuff works really well as well. Okay, man, you can smell that from here. So now that is a good combination of pink corn. It's got the tuna garlic on there. I would simply put that back in the jar, and then what I like to do is I take my jars and I literally write on there what is in here. So this is the natural corn. Believe it or not, I add herring oil into here and just write herring on. Herring works extremely well. It's Basically, it comes down, your limitation is your imagination. Any of these color combinations and scents are going to work very well, and you don't know which scents work better until you at least give them a try. A couple years ago, I started using Crawfish. Okay, Crawfish, and especially now that Pautzke's came out with this fire gel in Crawfish, love to put this on the back of my Dodgers. Also, the Crawfish oil from Mike's, I like to take that and put it on the pink or the natural corn. Crawfish works extremely well. It has a very strong fishy smell to it. Kokanee seem to respond to that very well. Here's some Lunker lotion in Squid. Squid works extremely well. The key here is that I carry with me a tray of scents. I have a box full of all these different corns with different scents in them, and I got a lineup of different gels that I can use to put onto the backs of my Dodger. Okay, I'm going to set the corn over here. So you take your Dodger, and for those of you who do not currently put any scent on the back of your Dodger, you're missing out. So the lure is gonna drag through the water on your troll. It's gonna put out a certain amount of scent. You can put oils and things on the back of your Dodgers, and it lasts for a while, and then you're going to have to reapply. So the oils work, the Lunker lotion works, but over time it washes off. If you have not used Pautzke's fire gel, this stuff, and here's a couple of my favorites right here, the Crawfish and the garlic, extremely strong, smells. All of these fire gels are extremely natural in how they smell, and they work really, really well. Not just for Kokanee either. They're going to work extremely well on your spoons and whatnot when you're out there in Puget Sound, the ocean fisheries also. So your herring aid spoons and whatnot, you put that herring or anchovy fire gel on, it lasts literally for hours. The smell stays, the color, which isn't a big deal, it also stays, but the key is it stays on the hardware that you put it on. I just like to take some of this fire gel, and it doesn't take much, and I just literally smear that on the back of this Dodger. And I will run that for hours with that extra scent on there, okay? And again, it doesn't take much. A jar of this stuff would last you for an extremely long time. That's basically it. If you're not putting scent on your Dodger, you're missing out. You're gonna find that more fish are drawn to your presentation with that extra scent in. And actually, when you drop this down into the water, you will see kind of the oil coming off of here, okay? But the key is that it lasts for a long time. You don't have to constantly reapply. If you're fishing for hours upon hours, you may end up putting a little more on. The other thing is you can completely wipe that off, get a different scent out. Maybe I want to put a really strong garlic scent on there, smear that on and fish that for a while, see how it performs. The other thing you can do, if you're fishing 3 or 4 different rods, put a different scent of fire gel on each Dodger. Put different corn makeups of color and scent on different combinations. I will run shrimp on the back of the Dodger. I will run a shrimp anise combination of corn on that lure. The next one over, I'll put tuna on the back of the Dodger, and I'll run a tuna garlic scent and corn presentation on that lure. Then I'll move to Crawfish. Then I'll move to herring. I'll put those 4 out there, and as our buddy Buzz Ramsey always used to say, hey, let the fish tell you what they want. Maybe it's the difference in the color or size or build of your lure. Maybe you're running 2 same lures, similar Dodgers, different scents. Really key in on letting the fish let you know which one they're going to chase after. Once you get it down, or after the first hour or 2, make sure you're switching out to present most of your offerings in those scents that they seem to be attracted to. All lakes are different. One lake may be really productive if you use a lot of tuna garlic. Other lakes that seem to have more of a shrimp anise. Some lakes it's a combination thereof. Don't be afraid to put 1 kernel of shrimp anise on one hook and, believe it or not, a kernel of tuna garlic on the other. That combination, multi-scent, sometimes is the key to draw those Kokanee in and get a response. And remember now, a lot of our Kokanee lures are pretty small in presentation. This is the old classic rasticle, or a variation thereof. A lot of my lures resemble that with these LP squids and whatnot on them. Not a lot of differences here. Different blades, different size presentations, little gold blades, little candy from YBC. Got some Max Lure Smiley blades and all these. The key here though is when I go to put the corn on these hooks, it's pretty simple. Put one on here. For those that fish Kokanee all the time, this is nothing new. We're just going to push that up like that. I like it to be in line with. Now you don't want to overload your lure with a bunch of corn, because if you do, it puts extra drag on your lure, and it can actually minimize the action. That's just going to go through the water column, dragging those 2 little pieces of corn. Doesn't look like much, but the amount of scent that that's putting off, because once you mix that oil onto that corn and put it in the container, put it in your fridge, it's literally just going to sit in there and absorb into that corn over time. And the longer that it's in that oil, the more scent that it retains, the longer that scent lasts. The other nice thing about this Pautzke corn is because it's cooked, it's a little bit hardened, and because it's a little firmer, it literally stays on your hook so much better than soft corn right out of the can. Fish can hit this. As you know, you watch those rods going off and then they stop. Those fish are hitting on them, pecking at them, doesn't hook up. With soft corn, oftentimes you reel that in, your bait's gone. With the Pautzke corn, because of the firmness of it, those fish can beat on that lure for a bit, and you can reel it up and check, and more times than not, you're still going to have the corn on your lure. So there's durability in using these colored corns and adding scent to them. And for me, at least speaking personally, over the years it has worked fantastic, and I stick with it. Before we get out of here, I want to remind everybody, this here is one of Dave Calhoun's rods. This is that 8-foot one-piece Kokanee rod that he's building. $125 for these Northwest Kokanee rod. Again, that cork handle, very, very nice craftsmanship, a fantastic fishing rod. You'll be very happy with this if you're able to get your hands on one before they're all gone. Remember, right now he's got about 30 of them that he's blown out the door, and after that you may end up waiting a little bit to get your hands on one of these Northwest Kokanee rods. So I suggest you do it sooner than later. Hit him up on Facebook and get your hands on some of these as we get through the next few months of some really, really good Kokanee fishing to look forward to. All right, that's going to do it for us on Baits and Scents and Kokanee. More Kokanee presentations coming to you in the next several weeks, as it's that time of year, so we'll be mixing those in and out as we go along. Jump out for a quick break. When we come back, we'll be in studio to close out the show.